Hello, welcome to Priory Paddock. It's high summer now and we've reached the zenith of the life cycle of the plants here. The paddock received its Royal Horticultural Society Gold Award as a woodland copse conservation area. Many of the trees and bushes here can be seen now to be fleshing out their fruits, filling up their berries and starting to ripen them off, so that they are very attractive to birds when we get to the autumn. In the corner of the paddock, behind the front wall, next to the Dandy Walk kissing gate, in the far southwest corner of the paddock, which can't be seen from the gate, there's a conker tree, and that flowered in the spring and is ripening its conkers very nicely now. As you come through the gate into the paddock and look around, on the left there is a hawthorn bush which is covered in haws, which are at the moment green but are fleshing out nicely. They're filling up and starting to go a little orange. To the left of that again, behind the boardwalk, there's an alder tree. It is smothered in clusters of as yet light green berries on purple stems, and as the year grows on, those berries will fill up. They're relatively small at the moment, but they will fill up a little bit more and they will ripen up, and they will be very attractive to birds when we get into late August or early September. And further up the paddock I can see a couple of shrubs which are Guelder rose bushes, and they are already festooned in shiny red clusters of berries. When the paddock has effectively disappeared beneath a welter of growth, the grasses in particular are now anything from 3 to 4 feet high, and the seeds are ripening and the grasses are taking on their characteristic straw colour, which indicates that they too have reached the top of their cycle and will soon be shedding the seeds. The growth is so dense that in many cases the flowers that are still extant are virtually invisible at a distance amongst the growth. So let's have a walk up the paddock and see what we can see. Starting at the bottom near the gate, I can see some spires, twisted spires of yellow, 5-petal yellow centres, and very large matte green leaves, and this is dark mullein. Near it there are a relatively smaller plant with 5-petaled pink flowers with purple stripes on the petals and 5 pointed leaves, and this is mallow, common mallow. There are relatively few low-growing plants left at this time of the year, for the simple reason that the grass and other plants have grown so tall they've been covered up. But one relatively low-growing plant that is very clearly evident is bird's foot trefoil. It's very popular with the bees. It has clusters of rather pea-shaped flowers, and these clusters, realized in the seed set, they ripen in small brown pods in a radial cluster which looks exactly like a bird's foot, hence the name. Coming on a little further, I can see in the area between the path and the pond a very tall plant with spires of pinkish purpley petals, 5-petaled flowers again, and this is purple loosestrife. Again, this is very popular with the insects. The paddock, one of the principal aims is to provide both habitat and nutrition for insects of all sorts, And at this time of the year, our success in that respect is quite clear, because the flower spikes of the purple on the other side of the path, the thistle-shaped heads of knapweed, are full of insects, particularly bees. I can see a queen white-tailed bumblebee here and several smaller workers. The sun is behind them, so I can't see quite what they are. But I'm sure we'll see more as we come further up. In the pond itself, the predominant growth at the moment is of spikes of, again, pinkish purple flowers, and this is marsh woundwort. Coming past the King Charles Coronation Bench, there is a very impressive plant with pale green leaves and, again, thistleish looking flowers in very, very bristly heads, which again is swarming with bees at the moment. And this, if you look carefully at the spiky flowers, you will see that on the end of each of the spikes there is a tiny hook, and when the seeds set, instead of shedding its seeds so they spread aerially, in this case, the butterbird counts on having some animal or person brush past it, at which point the hooks catch on your coat and you carry away the seeds of the butterbird and distribute it somewhere else. Coming on further still, near the boardwalk, above the pond, there's a plant with clouds of creamy white blossom and heads of pale green berries or seeds, and this is meadowsweet and grows particularly well here as the ground is so damp. Coming further on up, there is a larger stand of knapweed, and this is covered in worker bumblebees. These are much smaller than the queens, but they have the same general furry appearance. And the ones I can see here are buff-tailed. They have a pale stripe behind the head and a gingerish looking end to the tail. There's a lot of white clover here as well, which again is low growing, but it is surviving because there's a shortish patch here, and that too is attracting insects. And on one of the flowers here I can see a butterfly, a green-veined white butterfly. Now there are several. The commonest is the small white, which is a small white butterfly by definition. And the underside of the wings, the lower wings, is a cream colour. Now the green vein white is distinguished from that. It's about the same size. It has a black edge to the forewing, but the rear wings, the underside of the rear wings, are covered in a pattern of green veins. One very striking plant to be found in the upper part of the paddock, and there's a nice stand of it to the left of the short path that goes down to the well, is meadow cranesbill. This has nice bluey purple 5-petaled flowers, but the seed heads in particular are very dramatic. While they are green, they look exactly like the head of a crane or a stork with a long pointed beak, but when they ripen and peel back and the seeds are left on the ends of stalks looking exactly like little candelabra. On the other side of the path to the well is a large buddleia bush, and this is very, very popular with butterflies. Its popular name, of course, is butterfly bush. And at the moment I can see a red admiral, several whites, a meadow brown, all on the buddleia at the moment. And what's this? This is a wall. That's a small brown butterfly with a bright orange pattern on it. All these brown butterflies, the meadow brown and the wall and the gatekeeper, which we also have here in the paddock, They lay their eggs in the bottom of clumps of grass, tussock grass. So the grass, which can be seen, all actually very useful for us in that it provides habitat for brown butterflies. Coming further on up the path, we reach the huge solid block of codlins and cream. This is the great willow herb plant. It's very fond of damp ground, and we've got plenty of damp ground here. And the codlins here reach anything up to probably 8 feet tall. They have 5-petalled pinkish flowers with a white centre, and their old English name, codlins and cream, is derived from the fact that the flower is supposed to look like a dollop of stewed apple with some cream in the centre. There's a teasel to be found here on the opposite side of the path, and at the moment that has got a hoverfly sitting on it. I think it has a orange and black pattern on it. Right up at the top of the paddock, in the glade at the top of the paddock, there is a couple of crabapple trees, and they have a lot of fruit on them at the moment, which again is filling up and will ripen eventually. And I can see a meadow brown butterfly flitting around here. Again, it's one of the butterflies that uses the tussock grass as a cover, both food and accommodation for its caterpillars, but it's flitting around here in the sunlit space at the top of the paddock. Well, that's what I can see walking through the paddock. I hope you've enjoyed it.